guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be part 3 of the graphite dog tutorial that I've been doing over the last few months. This one's going to go really deep into how I do the eyes for dogs. I know I said in the last video that it will be up in a week's time, and it's been about a month, so sorry about that. But I do have good reason, because I have been working on my Patreon channel to be up and running very soon. And the graphite tier is going to be really good. I'm going to have like full-length videos, real time, loads of tips, like start to finish, nothing left out. I'm going to be offering free critiques. Well, not free because you're obviously paying for the Patreon, but that's like a little bonus thing I'm doing, so people are going to be able to send me their drawing, be able to give them like points that they can improve on or points that they did really well. So I'm really looking forward to that portion of it, because I can interact with you guys, and people always comment on my videos and I really just want to see their work, but they don't have Instagram and stuff, so that'll be really cool. But yeah, if you want to be the first to know when that goes live, put your email address in the link below that goes to my website, and I'll send you an email so you're like the first to know, and I really can't wait to see you guys on there. It's going to be so fun. But enjoy the video, like and subscribe, leave me a comment. Bye. I'm just going to run you through the tools that I'm using, and we have my old favourite, a 0.5 Faber Castell mechanical pencil, and it's got a 2B, sorry, excuse my plaster, it's got a 2B lead in there. And I have got a 2H pencil, which is just my lighter lead that I use for the lighter areas. And I have this silicone colour shaper from Jackson's Art. They're actually meant for pastel pencils, but it works really well for blending out graphite. It comes in a little 3-pack, so I'll link that below. And I have my Tombow Eraser. It's just like a little mechanical thin eraser. And I also use, I didn't use it for this specifically, but most of the time I will use these, which are basically the same thing as the Tombow Eraser, but they're Faber Castell, and you can sharpen them to a really fine point. This one is for coloured pencil, but I use it for graphite because it picks up the pigment really well. And this one is for graphite by design, because it's a normal white rubber. So yeah, I'd really recommend getting these just to pick out some tiny highlights in certain areas. I will show you how I do the fur around the eyes as well, because it goes off in all crazy directions, but that'll be at the end of this video. And do check out my other tutorials where I feature this dog, because I'll be showing you how I do the fur, the ear, the nose, everything like that. And I'm going to split it into separate videos because it's going to be too long, because this is an A3 size. Just thought I'd show you how close I actually zoom in to the reference picture. This is a really good reference I've got here, it's really detailed. You can see every single hair, which is ideal. I would be hesitant to accept anything lower quality than this for a graphite portrait of this size, because you do really want to see all of that fur direction. It's going to help you get that realism you're looking for. So don't try and put yourself with low quality blurry reference photos, because you're just getting yourself off to a bad start. So this is literally how close I zoom in when I'm working on each area. I'm not looking at the bigger picture, I'm just really zooming into those detailed areas. So kicking things off here, I'm just going in with my darkest shadows, but I'm not going in too dark just yet. I just like to map out kind of where they're going to be going. So that tends to be the top of the eye, where the light isn't hitting that top portion of the eye at all. And then that highlight is normally hitting the top portion of the eye. One mistake people can make is making the highlight not kind of, because obviously the eye is a sapphire, so if you make the highlight too straight looking, it's good, the eye won't look as sapphire-like as it is sapphire-like as it is in real life. This eye is going to be really quick, by the way. And then I'm going to be doing the next eye, and then I'll slow it down a little bit. But this is just an overview. So yeah, I did those darker bits, and then I went in with some mid-tones, and then I blurred that out with the blending tool. I also added a secondary highlight there, which wasn't as bright as the first highlight, and that was just using the rubber pencil by Faber Castell. And also notice there how I've put the eyelashes in the primary reflection, the whitest reflection. Once I have my mid-tones and highlights in there, I'll go in with a rubber pencil and just pick out some little highlights within the iris, and I'll also start mapping out some of the hairs around that eye. I did try and just stick to one area for the sake of the tutorial, but I do tend to jump around naturally. just to get a feel for the eye and the expression of the dog. So now we're going to go on to the second eye, and I'm going to give you some more tips, and I'm going to do this one a bit slower, so hopefully that helps you out to see what I'm talking about. Okay, sorry about the quality, it's because I filmed it in like 60 times speed. You won't have this issue on Patreon, just a plug there. Anyway, so here again, I'm doing that first step of going in with my darkest highlights, and I'm using my 2B leaded mechanical pencil here. And yeah, as I said, I'm that little bit on the eyelid at the top of the eye. Rarely, the only light that's going to be hitting that is bounce light from the ground, so that's usually the darkest spot. And you can play that up to your advantage as well. You can make it a bit darker to make the eye look like it's popping a bit more. Yeah, as I was saying about the top highlight, the main highlight, if you make it too straight looking, it can kind of get rid of the effect that the eye is actually a round part of the dog that's coming out from the skull. So yeah, do pay attention to the curves in your highlights. And the details in the middle there, they've normally got a darker ring around the edge of the pupil, and also some darker bits in the middle of the pupil around the iris. So really zoom into your reference and see, because these can be quite characteristic of each dog. Because dog owners do tend to spend a lot of time staring into their dog's eyes, if they're anything like me. And yeah, there we are, having the eyelashes again in that highlight, and that just really helps the reflection to blend in, because obviously the highlights are going to be on the top eyelid, and that's going to be cutting off light from the reflection, and therefore we have to show that. So I've mainly used my mechanical pencil here, and I've also made quite a lot of use out of that blending stump, you know, the silicone tool. And there we have the secondary highlight going in there. I'm going to do this bit in real time just so I can really show you the bit, in my opinion, which brings everything to life. And that is the really fine highlights and the tears in the eyes, because that shine coming off it is going to really take your realism to the next level. So in the reference I'll put a picture of it in the corner. But we've got, where it meets the lower lid here, there's that tiny little area where moisture will build up and really bring that eye to life. So I'm going to make sure this eye area is actually dark enough so that you'll see the highlight. I'm just using my colour shaper there. And then what I'll do, I prefer the 0.5 jelly rolls because you can get a lot finer detail, but I haven't got one today because they tend to dry out really fast. So I'm just going to roll it on a piece of paper to make sure the gel's coming out nice and smoothly. And I'm going to put in those tiny little just dots of highlight. And then I'm just going to go over it where I've gone over that line a little bit. It's easy to overdo it with the white highlights, but less is more when it comes to this. So there we go, and now I'll do the other one. And as you can see, when the fur's in, it will look a bit more realistic, but that's really brought the wet surface of that eye forward. Sorry, I find it really hard to draw and talk at the same time. That's why most of my videos are voiceover. So there we go for that one. Just realised that I've missed out a whole highlight on this eye. Quickly put that in. There's less little highlights on this eye because it's in the shadow side of the dog. I'm still going to put a few in just to match the other side. Give it that twinkly look. And there's the final piece of the eyes so far, and now I'm going to go in and draw the hairs. Now the hairs are really quite confusing around the eyes because they go in all different directions. It's good to try and map out, give yourself a good guide as to where those directions are going when you're mapping it out. But yeah, I'll show you how I do it. I am moving, when I do these hairs, I'm moving around the paper. Well, when I'm doing any of it, I'm moving my whole body around the paper rather than trying to sit in one place, because otherwise it's really hard to get those directions going in a kind of natural looking way, I guess you could say. But yeah, don't be afraid to be animated, move around your drawing, give it that energy that it needs. For this area of fur around the eye, you kind of want to think out and around. So it comes out from the centre of the face and it goes in a round shape around the eye. And I'm using the triangle technique that I talk about in my other videos. So it's like 2 strokes of pencil tapered, put together and separated at the end, so it kind of looks like the first separating and then there's a shadow in between. But if you want to know more about that technique, then please look at my other videos where I go further in depth with that. Specifically, I was working on this dog and I think it's 2 videos behind if you haven't already seen it, and that goes really in depth into the fur textures and stuff like that. And also don't forget to register for my Patreon so that you get notified when it goes live. It's going to be really soon, hopefully within the next week. So yeah, don't forget to register your email and I'll let you know straight away when that goes up. And I've got a really exciting cat tutorial for the first ever video. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, guys. Please leave me a comment if you did. I love to read your comments and I'll see you in the next video.